Hello everyone, and today I'm going to introduce you how Australia recovered from the massive and severe wildfire that had happened around the middle of February and being over in March of this year, 2020, and the environmental impact of our lockdown. After so much climate change throughout the years, these were actually good news. Australia had suffered a lot with the wildfire season. More than 5,900 buildings were burned and at least 34 people were killed by devastating flames. But not all hope is gone. The past month had shown that the trees were recovering and showing really good progress about their development. COVID-19 has been really hard on humanity. Parties were cancelled, plans, the closure of many business, and also this, maybe the decay of many countries' economy. However, the big bright side is our CO2 emission were dropping massively, not going out on our cars, industry has stopped producing, and less tourism has been more than effective to help the environment. Also staying in our homes and cooking more from home. I relearned how to cook pasta. Not only that, animals were manifesting in the local natural environment that once was full of our presence. The tranquility welcomes them once again, and many saw creatures reappearing and claim the territory that once was theirs. This meant a lot because we had the opportunity before the pandemic, but now it plays an important part about fighting against climate change and the new opportunity for all of us to make a new start and be more conscious about our actions, our planet, and about our future. Thank you very much.
Disasters and natural phenomena in 2020. Throughout this year, we have been present of different catastrophes that have happened on our planet, such as the explosion in Beirut on August 4, 2020. This explosion claimed 202 deaths and more than 6,500 injured and left more than 3,000 people homeless in unprecedented figures. Imagine being there to be a person who has just walked home to a net to a warehouse where the fire started and suddenly exploded, destroying everything in this bed. You can see that there was a big wave of after the explosion. Another thing that I want to talk about is hurricanes Hannah, Delta, and Zeta, which touched Mexican land, leaving in torrential rains, floods, and damage to coastal areas, specifically in Yucatan Peninsula. These hurricanes were responsible for more than 100 deaths along with more than 1,500 missing, not counting the damage caused in the multiple cities. Well, with this we finish today, but before we go, I want to make a small reflection on the power that these types of catastrophe can have, since some could be about it and others not like hurricanes, that I can decide to pass through in cities and destroy everything there's bad. Well, that for me is something impressive. It is also worth mentioning the lack of administration that was carried out in the buried warehouse, since this accident could have been avoided with the only good management of the facility since the facilities were restored and only needed a restoration, something as simple as renovating the facility and really hundreds of deaths could have been avoided. Well, with this I conclude my part. Thanks.
Moving to a different topic, COVID 19. New news have come to our attention. Moderna announced that its coronavirus vaccine is 94.5% effective, and the second US vaccine has a high success rate, while other vaccines are moving towards the right direction, meaning they're yet to be approved. Testing is considered a key way to control the epidemic, but the government system has experienced setbacks during the pandemic. In recent weeks, the government had started mass testing, including people with no symptoms, using a new type of rapid swab test which do not need to be sent to a lab. This made a faster way to speed up the testings and the results as well. The US had reported more than 10,000 daily infections for 2 weeks straight. Also, they were receiving about 166 new cases, along with another high over 73,000 coronavirus hospitalizations nationwide, as ICU beds in several states were starting to fill up. Also, Oklahoma reported a new ways and restrictions to help slow the spread. Coronavirus had put a lot of lives on hold, making it harder for others to be in these circumstances. The impact this has made is truly life changing. Strategies are analyzed to arrive at competitive prospects, current growth, and potential for expansion, meaning lifeboat studies plan is based on how this pandemic is growing. This changed many of us, but we need to have clear that this is just a step back or two from our lives. By 2021, things will change. New restrictions and rules will be made, but in the meantime, we need to follow what experts are telling us. By just wearing a mask, you are helping. Please have awareness of this topic and have empathy for others.
Well, I don't have a nice way to express how I feel about this, but at first, I need to tell you the story. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard got married in 2015 in a private ceremony, but Heard filed the divorce a year later, accusing Depp from domestic abuse, including the British paper described Depp as a wife beater. On the one hand, American producer gave him a version. If he does not obey the rules of his ex-wife, everything will be released. And on the other hand, Heard and the lawyer recount the actor's personal and sexual violence, and the later allegedly continued to throw a bottle of champagne or a mobile phone into his face, the face of the actor. The news were released a few days after he lost a defamation case against The Sun. That was the newspaper that describes Depp as a wife beater, but he lost the demand. As part of Depp 50 million defamation case against Heard, he previously included image of Heard's injured and abused face after the alleged attack. Heard also accused Depp of assaulting her, providing pictures of scars, hair strands torn from the top of the head, and a broken furniture. Supposedly, yeah, we don't know. Johnny Depp announced Friday that he was asked to resign from the forthcoming Fantastic Beasts 3. Well, to be realist, we never like Fantastic Beasts, but we like how Johnny Depp acted as Grindelwald. Until now, the actor hasn't given more details about why he got fired. Obviously, the fandom of Harry Potter, including me, got mad. And we made a request for Amber Heard not to participate in Aquaman 2. And we already have 1.5 million of the signs for the petition to Amber Heard reject and not participate in Aquaman 2.
In today's section, I'm going to talk about the United States 2020 presidential elections and the events that were happening throughout this process. It all started with the presidential debates. The first one was programmed for October 22nd of 2020, and many people can comment that it was chaotic. Both of the candidates talked about some of the issues that are going on in the country, but the responses they had given didn't solve any of them. The next debate was scheduled for September 29th of 2020, and most of the events that went on the first debate happened again. Both candidates were preparing themselves for the day of the elections, which started on November 3rd, 2020. Most people from the Republican Party voted in line. Meanwhile, people from the Democratic Party sent their votes by mail. But none of the Americans had thought about the impact that these elections had caused on society. These elections were declared as the elections most Americans had ever participated in. A couple of days went by and votes were still being counted. People from everywhere in the world were actually waiting for the results because with the mail-in votes, the results had changed, and Biden was in the lead for around 2 days. But the race was still very close, and Trump had a chance to win the elections. Finally, on November 8th, the results from the elections were released, with Joe Biden winning the most electoral votes, meaning he was elected as President of the United States. The real question for everyone here is, do you think the country is really going to change and be better, or will things stay the same?